Have you ever wondered if there's truly an experience of resurrection? Is there a heaven? Will I see my family members? Or is this all there is? I mean, let's be realistic. And yet we witness the stories of the Acts, where disciples who were terrified after the death of Jesus become valiant proclaimers of the resurrection. They face death with great courage and trust. There must be something to this. As we know, many of them laid down their lives for Christ. Yet today, we hear the doubts of Thomas. He couldn't fathom this marvelous truth. He had to touch Jesus, to put his hands into Jesus' wounds. How does one live with doubt? There's a story of St. Christopher, probably more legend than truth, that I'd like to share. As a youth, Christopher was gifted in every way except faith. He was a big man, physically and powerful, strong, good-hearted, mellow, and was liked by everyone. He also was generous and used his strength to help others. However, his one shortcoming was that he found it hard to believe in the risen Lord. For him, the physical was what was real, what he could see, touch, and feel. He yearned to believe, and he deeply respected those who did. However, he did not have the gift of faith. He lived his life in a certain agnosticism. This, though, did not prevent him from using his gifts, especially his physical strength, in the service of others. As a young man, he became a ferry boat operator, spending his life carrying others across a dangerous river. One night, so the legend goes, during a storm, the ferry boat capsized, and Christopher dove into the dark waters to rescue a young child. Carrying that child to the shore, he looked into its face and saw there the face of Christ. After that, he believed. This story contains a profound lesson. What do we do in the face of doubt and the lack of faith? What do we do when we feel the absence of God? How do we encounter God amidst the suffering we cannot understand? Perhaps it is in the capacity to be with the questions that we discover God. It is in the midst of suffering that we see the face of God. In the midst of giving and selflessness that we encounter the divine. Thomas gives us pause. How many of us would be like him? He says, unless I can place my finger in the wounds of his hands and stick my finger into the wound of his side, I will not believe. Jesus, nor the disciples, rebuked Thomas for his lack of belief. Instead, Jesus takes Thomas at his word. Come here, place your finger in the wounds of my hand and the wound in my side. See for yourself that I am real and not a ghost. The gospel challenges and invites us to come and see for ourselves that Jesus is real, not a ghost. Questions are to be expected in our lives. They have a way of driving us deeper into the complexities of living, calling us to search for the truth, inviting us to trust that there will be a better day. Faith is never a certainty. Neither is it the sure feeling that God exists. And conversely, unbelief is not to be confused with the absence of feeling the presence of God, for God is with us. The history of faith, as witnessed by the life of Jesus and the lives of the saints, shows us that God often seems dead, and at those times, the reality of the world can so overpower us that nothing seems real except what we see and feel right now, namely our own pain. I think of the pain of the people in Ukraine and throughout the world who are without home, family, disillusioned, lost. At those times, We can, though, cling to the stories of the Scriptures and trust in the hope that Jesus is with us, remembering that even those closest to him questioned his resurrection, only to meet him in the breaking of the bread, in the eating of a meal, in the retelling of his story, in touching him and being touched by him, looking for him in the troubled waters of life, and seeing the face of God in those around them and us. And may we here see for yourself that I am real and not a ghost. And by the way, the name Christopher means Christ bearer. May we bear the face of Jesus to all we know and meet today. May we be a part of carrying others over the troubled waters of pain and despair. May we believe. Help our unbelief.